What's up, guys? It's Casey Zogelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with another Hocus Pocus 2 video. In today's video, I'll be talking about my favorite moments from Hocus Pocus 2, because yes, regardless of popular opinion, I loved this movie, and I will not apologize for it.
You may strategically place your wonderful lips upon my posterior and kiss it repeatedly.
I will continue pouring buckets of love and appreciation on this film as long as I have a channel. It's just gonna happen. I can't guarantee clips for all of these, as not a lot have been posted yet, but I'll do my best, because, you know, screen recording in Disney Plus is a no-no. But without further ado, let's just hop right in. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the thing that I ended up loving the most, and I was shocked that I loved the most, because I thought it was just going to be a little one-off thing. No, this became like my favorite element of the movie. Literally anything with the Roombas. Literally any time the Roombas were on screen, I was smiling. That was so fun. That was such a fun element, and I love it so much. Mary having two little R2-D2s following her all around was so amazing. I love how she called them the girls. That made me so happy. Let me get the girls. That was just so cute. It was so fun. It was so fun. Sarah feeding them popcorn off the ground. Like, I'm sorry, the Roombas were one of the best things ever about this movie, and I cannot believe for 1 second that I'm saying these words, because, like, I thought it was just going to be a funny little jokey joke, and then we were going to move on. But it was a running gag through the entire thing, and they became important! They saved the Sanderson sisters from a ring of salt by vacuuming it up. And Mary surfing like frickin' Green Goblin, I mean, come on.
My groupies are misbehaving! Uh-oh! Winnie! I'm surfing, cowabunga!
You can't tell me that the Roombas were not an amazing element that got added to this freaking movie, and I love them. I love them. Honest to God, it made me want a Roomba. Like, I really want a Roomba so I can have it following me around, because it's so cute. Like, my Jedi Mary cosplay is screaming for a droid now, because I need a droid. I would 100% name it BRM3. Broomy. Like, come on. I love the Roombas. Anytime the Roombas were on screen, it was a good time. Now, one of the other things, this happened closer to the beginning, and it actually didn't involve the sisters. This was one of the rare moments. This was kind of, for me, this was the yabos of this movie. Becca scaring Mike by listing vegan foods in a whisper was hysterical. It was really funny, and I appreciated her pluck in that moment. Again, I wish we'd gotten more of that. But, it was so fun, because she was bullying the bully, and I can't tell you how many times I wish I had done that when I was being bullied. Like, yes, you list off those vegan foods and scare the crap out of him. That was so funny. It was so funny, and I loved it. It was a good look into her character, and yes. That was mwah. I loved it. Becca naming vegan foods in a whisper just to scare Mike, that was amazing. I loved it. That was one of my favorite parts. Which, playing off of that, because I really like Izzy, we all know which one I'm gonna say. I thought this was one of the funniest jokes for the simple fact that a lot of us can relate to this. When Izzy is talking about her mom sending her pictures of cookies. Blurry pictures of cookies, asking her what she wanted. Just buy the cookies, Susan, no one cares. That was so funny, because it was so real. I just was like, I've had this conversation. I've done this. Like, I've been in this exact scenario, and it was so hilarious. It was great. That is easily one of my most quotable moments from this movie. Just buy the cookies, Susan. No one cares. It was so good. That was so good. It was so good. So, I really like the prologue. Who didn't like the prologue? Who the heck didn't like the prologue? The young Sanderson sisters were perfect. They were perfect. I would 100%, 110%, you know what, 120% watch a prequel with those three. Like, yes. I would watch that. I would watch the absolute crap out of that. I need more time with those little baby witches. Like, yes, please and thank you. They were great. They were funny. Taylor Henderson nailed Bet's mannerisms down to the T. Like, yo, the prologue was one of the strongest points in this movie. It was amazing. I love, love, love the prologue. I love the beginning where we see them just being a family, and I really like when we meet Hannah Waddingham's character, who I didn't expect to like, but I loved her.
Why didst thou come into my woods?
I had no choice. They were gonna take my sisters.
Thou art different from the other children I have met. They feared thou wouldst corrupt them. New World, same story. But they were right to fear thee. Thy temper.
I do not have a temper.
I loved all of it. I loved all of it. The prologue was really cool. I liked seeing their backstory, and I, again, 120% would watch a prequel based on just those first 10 minutes. Let's go. Like, yes, that was good. That was good. That was easily one of my high points in this movie. Now, let's talk about another high point that I freaking loved, and a lot of people actually didn't like this, or several people didn't like this that I've heard of. Literally everything that happened in Walgreens is one of the greatest things to ever happen. It was so funny. And I like that it was an homage to the original grocery store scene that got cut, and just... Yes. Yes. Winifred drinking lotion, Mary eating a face mask, Sarah spraying perfume in her mouth. Like, yes. And then the three kids who were dressed up as the Sanderson sisters. Why are they dressed like us? Because they worship you too. Of course. Like, that was so funny. And them just leaning into the selfie. Give me a break. That was so great.
Delicious. Floral with a woodsy finish.
Tis tinkly. My favorite feeling. That means it's working.
Look, tis the face of a child. A newborn. Oh, sister, what does it taste like? Raspberry.
Can we take a photo?
I don't. It's a drawing.
Yes, yes.
Oh, very good.
So good. So good. We are ravishing.
We are very fetching.
Very foxy.
Foxy.
Yeah.
Why are these children dressed like us?
Well, because they also worship you.
That was great. Everything that happened in Walgreens was amazing. From them getting through the doors, all the way up to the point where Winifred slapped the mother of crap out of Sarah and they went flying. Like, God, Walgreens was funny. It was a good way to get us reacquainted with our girls. That was a good scene to just get us back into the Sanderson sisters, where we just saw them be confused by present day. We just got to see them be a little not so up to date, and their chemistry with each other, like, it was a good reintroduction to our girls. It was a really good reintroduction to our girls. And it was so funny. It was on brand. Everything that happened was great. Yeah, it was a lot of product placement, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. It was so funny. It was just, I loved it. I loved Walgreens. Walgreens was hilarious. But yeah, the meta jokes, like I was saying, where they were like, well, they worship you too. Of course. The meta jokes that were happening in this. I prefer to call them fourth wall breaks, really. Because that was just, the fourth wall got holes punched in it left and right around here in this movie. Oh, anytime they were like, well, yeah, people worship you. You are our idols. And just when Mary asked who the favorite was, I was like, that's a dangerous question, number one. I loved the fourth wall breaking meta humor that was happening throughout this. But I'm also somebody who really likes fourth wall breaks. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. There are people out there who do not like that kind of thing because it brings them out of the movie. To me, I think it brings me more into it because it's like the characters are going, yeah, do you see what's going on here? Help, kind of thing. Like, one of the best fourth wall breaks I've ever seen that stayed perfect was in Into the Woods. Not the crappy movie. The stage show. They literally bring the narrator who has been telling the story to us. They yank him into the story, and he starts talking to them about, like, I think he says, there must always be someone on the outside to pass the story along, and all this kind of stuff. That was one of the best fourth wall breaks ever. Hocus Pocus dude does fourth wall breaks on that level, in my opinion. On that level of, yes. The meta jokes, just, God, it was so funny. And I like that they kind of did that as a tribute to the fans. Like, that was for us, because they're like, we're finally recognizing, Disney as a company is finally recognizing the fact that, yes, you guys do love these witches, and we're going to show you that we have heard you. And it's like, and they did. It was great. The Sanderson Sister costume contest, I mean, yes, that was a yes. Like, I just really enjoyed the meta humor and the fourth wall breaking that happened in this movie. It's one of my favorite elements. It's one of my favorite parts. Anytime they make a joke like that, I'm just like, that's good. Like, it is good. It was very fun. But if you don't like fourth wall breaks like that, that probably isn't going to be one of your favorite things. But for me, that was just, that was good. That was good. As you guys can tell, I'm kind of all over the board here. I'm just kind of looking at my notes. I didn't write these in any particular order. We're 40? That was one of my favorite things. I just like Izzy's delivery of that. It's like, no, we're not teenagers. We're actually 40? And they bought it. Like, she didn't even sound sure of herself.
Wait, we're not teenagers. No, we only look young, but really we're 40.
40? Ooh, 40. Old folks, huh?
Fine physician.
I must
think
say,
it's the quality.
really, they're aged.
Like, the 40 thing was hilarious, and then the fact that it played into Mary going, hey, look, I found the 40-year-old teenagers later. That was hysterical. I liked that was the first attempt at bamboozling the sisters, and it wasn't even malicious. Like, it was just them being like, yeah, we're just gonna play on the fact that these three are probably dumb. But it was good. It's so funny. I just like that 40. Ooh, old folks. Just, like, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. That whole scene was a lot of fun. Yeah, we eat young souls all the time. Just, yes. That was another one of those shining moments where Izzy and Becca really stepped up, and I was like, oh yeah, I do kind of like you guys. I really like Izzy. But I liked that one. That was a good joke. It was a lot of fun. And speaking of good jokes, spread out. That's never going to stop being funny. I don't care how many times I watch it. That is never going to stop being funny. That is never going to stop being one of my favorite parts, because it's just, that was the rawest Sanderson Sisters thing you could have had. Sarah being Sarah, Winifred and Mary just looking at her like, why are we related to you? Why do you share our bloodline? And just, not like that, and just yeeting her through the door.
Must be in here someplace. Spread out. Not like that. Be serious.
That was just pure Sanderson energy. And it was so good. And you know what I think does it? This is one of those scenes that Sarah Jessica Parker ran off with like a bandit. Because it's not just the spreading out part, it's the whistling. It's the whistling that she's doing through her teeth. That is what sets it over the edge as one of my favorite parts of this movie. Because, like, it would have been a funny joke just doing the spread. It's the whistling. The dead silence, and all you can hear is Sarah whistling through her teeth as she slides down the wall. That is so good. Like, that whole scene was great because, again, it was the purest Sanderson energy you could have gotten. The chemistry was there. SJP ran off with that scene like a bandit. Like, the elements were just, and it was only like, what, a 30-second, maybe not even that moment. It was perfect. Like, it's easily one of my favorite parts of this movie because all the elements just came together and it was great. It was great. And the whistling just puts it over the edge. Just, yes, that whole thing. Yes. I'm just going to go on and talk about this one. We're going to go back to the beginning of this when we're hearing the legend of the Sanderson sisters as told by Gilbert. And then we get this kid whose name apparently is Liam. He just looks up at Gilbert, deadpan. What's a virgin? Yes. Because that is something every child has asked their parent after watching Hocus Pocus 1. Is, what's a virgin? And then you have to carefully tiptoe around that question, just like Gilbert does. A virgin is someone who never lit a candle. Like...
What's a virgin?
That is a person who has never lit a candle.
That was so perfect because that was a real world thing. That was a real world. This happens too often after kids watch this movie for the first time, and now we're gonna make fun of it. Cause it was just, yeah, that happens. That absolutely 100% happens. And I like that they recognize that it happens. It was so funny. It was so funny. What's a virgin? Like, mwah! Just, yes. I know I've said that a lot. Just, yes, a lot. But that is one of those moments that I was kind of sitting there going, this kid's about to be one of my favorite elements of this movie, and we're only going to see him once because he's asking the real questions. Like, what is there not to love about that part? I bet every parent who who watches that part cracked up because I'm sure they were like, yeah, we had to answer that question for our kid. Disney made me have to give this explanation. Like, you're kidding me? That's so good. It's so good. It is so good. Alright, let's talk about the two things that we absolutely have to talk about. One Way or Another is an absolute banger. It is an absolute banger. If you ever drive up next to my car and you hear me belting that at the top of my lungs, mind your business, I'm happy. Like, oh my gosh. I didn't think they could top I Put a Spell on You. I didn't think they could necessarily reach I Put a Spell on You. But man, One Way or Another came knocking on this door and it knocked it down. It came busting in like Hagrid, R.I.P., and said, I'm a banger. I hope you enjoy this song. And we did.
Sister, one way or another, we're gonna find ya. We're gonna get you. One way or another, we're gonna grab ya. I'll nab ya, I'll jab ya. One way or another, we're gonna snatch ya. I'm gonna catch ya, dispatch ya. One day, maybe next week, we're gonna grip ya. And then we'll trip ya, rip ya.
It is so good. The choreography was so good for what we saw. It was just such a good song. And the lyrics flowed perfectly. It was just really good. It was really good. I love One Way or Another. I think I already have that song memorized. Like, and this has only been out for a couple of weeks. I think it had it memorized by day 4 of us having this movie. Like, it was just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's such a banger. I love it. And I liked the stage number. I wish we'd gotten more of the stage number. But the montage was still fun. The montage was still fun. But, yeah, wish we could have seen more of the stage. But The Witches Are Back is equally a banger. I wish it was just a little longer. But it is equally a banger. And I'll be honest, I didn't overly love how they did it in the movie, because they did interrupt it a lot with Becca and Izzy, so you didn't hear as much of the song as I wish we did. But man, did they make up for it with that music video at the end in the credits. They absolutely made up for that. Like, I was very happy to see our girls one more time, like, especially after Owie. Like, yes, that music video was so fun. It was just the Sanderson sisters screwing around in a recording studio singing. Like, what was not to like?
Yeah, the witches are back. Stone cold sinners, as a matter of fact. I'm a witch, but I'm better than you. Watch the way that we fly, the way that you'll die. Whoa. Woo!
It was a good surprise. And it was fun. It was fun. Just watching them do things. Just watching them do things. It was so cute. It was so fun. Like, that music video is great. If they were like, if this was the early 2000s, they would be playing that on Disney Channel during intervals of a commercial break or something, and I would be living for it. Like, that would be one of those that they just put on in the middle of a commercial break. It's like, here's this music video. Just, it was so good. It was so good. It was so fun. Both of the songs in this one were absolute bangers. Just, dang. I didn't think they could hit it again, but they hit that level. They hit that level, and in fact, they may have raised the bar just a little bit. But it was great. It was great! Okay. Now we're gonna fast forward to, like, the last half an hour of this movie. Because 3 of my favorite things happened at the end of this movie. One of which was Sarah Mary getting lightning powers. Yes. Yes. Like, honest to God, this has been on my whiteboard, or what I call my whiteboard. It's actually my Google Doc with a bunch of content ideas on it. So I had this video in mind that I just hadn't done yet because news reports kept coming in about the movie. It was Sarah Mary could use inherited magic. So, like, Winifred has lightning, and then it would go, Mary could sniff out kids and use lightning, and then Sarah could sniff out kids, use lightning, and sing. That was going to be my theory, and I was going to turn that into a video. And then I don't have to, because they did that. Because they did that at the end of this movie, and I was like, I don't even care that they got this through the Magicae Maxima. Yes! I was right! I knew they were going to be able to zap things, and I was so happy. It made me so happy. I really wish I hadn't had Sarah's freaking spoiled for me ahead of time. Thank you, Disney, for putting that in a random friggin' clip online that I accidentally scrolled past. That would have been a jaw drop moment for me if I hadn't seen that ahead of time. But, oh yes, give those 2 a power upgrade. Not that I'm saying Sarah wasn't always the one with the most scary power, but woofa-doofa. Like, yes, when they started when Sarah zapped for the first time, again, if I hadn't seen that ahead of time, I would have been like, but I was like, oh, please let Mary have lightning. Please let Mary get lightning. And then Mary starts pew-pewing all over the place, and I was so happy.
Kill him, Winnie! Kill him! I am suddenly powerful. Winnie, me too!
The finger guns and the pew pews were killing me. I was not prepared for that. And I was like, Sarah's just over here zapping and drawing in the ground. Mary's over here like, again, like she's in Star Wars going pew pew like a stormtrooper. I'm done. But it was so good. That had to have been one of those moments Kathy improv. And just yes. Like the pew pews. I can't with the finger guns and the pew pewing. That was so fun. Those two getting extra powers just made me feel so validated. I needed that. I needed that. I needed to see them step up in the world. They needed it so bad, especially poor Mary. Mary needed it most of all, because the sniffing power, just having that kind of sucks. Like, my heart has always gone out to her for that one. She didn't have the cool power. That's the curse of being the middle child right there, I'm telling you. But like, are you kidding me? That was just so good. It was so fun. Those two getting zappy zaps just, it made my heart happy. But right after that, my heart got even happier. Because Sarah grew a pair for like 30 seconds.
Stop that! Stop dancing around, you fool! Get them! Get them! I beg your pardon?
I am not a fool. I am a good and loyal sister, and I expect to be seen as such!
It's not, I don't even care that she lost the will to keep going after 30 seconds. That moment where she zapped Winifred and gave her that dirty look, I froze. It was just like, oh, we're doing this now. Oh, Lord, it's happening. Oh, no, she's done pushed her over the edge. I was so excited. And I'm so... Ooh, what Sarah gave her what for? Yes, yes, yes! Just, talk about validation. Man, y'all know how much I would go to the barricades for her. Y'all know how much I've been going to the barricades for her over the last year or two. Well, really 5 years since my video on her went up, which you can watch by clicking on this thing right here if you haven't. Are you kidding me? Like, we've had this movie for what, 3 weeks now? And I'm still flabbergasted that happened. I am still shook that they pulled that off. That they let her talk to Winifred like that. Like, I have no words to describe how happy that moment made me. 'Cause it just made me so happy. I was so happy. And the fact that she followed it up with, shut up and get moving. Of course, Winnie post-haste, like, it was great. I like that still showed that Sarah was like, yeah, I'm still your sister, but please stop treating me like crap. Like, yes! Sarah grew a backbone. Oh my god, it made me so happy. And several of you have asked me, do you think Mary was on Winnie's side or Sarah's side when she did that? She was on Winnie's side. She was on Winnie's side. It's not debatable. We all know that. Like, again, I half expected Sarah to just be like, peace, and just deuced out and went over to Becca and was like, what you want me to do? Like, I almost felt like that was coming whenever that first started, but I was like, no, she wouldn't. She wouldn't. I've toyed with this in fan fiction before, but she wouldn't. And she didn't. As it should be. But, yo. Yo. I know I talked about this in another video, but yo. It made me so happy. That is probably my favorite moment of the entire movie, just because I felt validated. It was a long time coming. Yeah, I think that was hands down my favorite moment of the movie. that was probably the point where I was at my happiest. Was just seeing Sarah stand up to Winnie and say what she said. Just, yes. 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 Now, I was at peak happiness there. Well, let's talk about where I just emotionally got destroyed. But it still is one of my favorite parts of this movie. Winifred's big emotional monologue after she lost Sarah and Mary. Holy crap. Holy crap.
Magicae Maxima, Convatio! Rescind the spell! Undo what I have done. I beg of thee. Oh, not my sisters. My beloved, infuriated sisters. Why, they were my kin. Of course, I was the pretty one. But they were my passionate partners in unholy mischief. Oh, what fun we had. For old time's sake. Can nothing be done? My doing has been my undoing. My folly, my fate. Oh, what is this feeling? Oh, I think it is my heart. I fear it is breaking. Oh, I cannot bear this. My powers are nothing without my sisters.
Yo. I went into this movie expecting to laugh, expecting to have a fun time, expecting to lose the Sanderson sisters again, because we were going to. We all knew that. I expected it to kind of hurt like the first time, whenever I was 4, and I watched my favorite people die for the first time, and it really upset me. My funny witches were gone. But I was not prepared to be absolutely assaulted by feels whenever they were like, ha ha ha, Sarah and Mary are going to have a very sad exit, and then you're going to see Winifred break. And I was like, I'm not okay. I wasn't okay for like 2 hours after that movie, because I was like, whoa. And the reason it affected me like that was because in the first one, we had no indication, except for like one time when the bus pulled up, when Winnie pushed her sisters behind her back. We had no indication she actually gave a crap about them. We have no proof that she didn't give a crap. She didn't care. She was gonna throw Sarah in what she thought was a black river. She was probably gonna let her drown. It was like, the first movie, I absolutely never thought Winifred would care about her sisters ever. She was just using them as tools. I even agree with the popular theory that was going around on the internet saying that she wasn't going to let them use the second life potion, that it would have been worthless to them, and she was just going to let them die at the end of the movie. I was on board with that theory. Now that I have seen Hocus Pocus 2, and Winnie's emotional monologue, I take back everything I ever said about Winifred. Because, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was stunned at how human she became in that moment. It was like, because again, it throws it back to the prologue. She did what she did because she wanted to keep her family safe. She loved her sisters when she was a teenager. They were family. They loved each other. She fought to keep them together. But then as they grew up and they started being witches and stuff, we see that bond kind of break a little bit. The only thing kind of keeping them together is the familial loyalty. But then Sarah and Mary get taken away, which was Winnie's biggest fear. And it's like her inner child just came back and was like, what have we done? What have I done? Her what have I done moment when she said her doing has been her undoing. Oh, man. I was not prepared to just get absolutely gutter stomped in the feels by that part. But God, I'm glad I did. because it was so good to see Winifred care about somebody other than herself. It was so good to see her be selfless for a moment, because she could have stayed. She could have kept living. If it was Hocus Pocus 1 Winnie, I would have absolutely seen her just go, and then keep living. But man, that monologue, her begging Book for help, her asking Becca for help, Winifred asking for help, period, and acting so broken, that hit me in a different way. Because it's just, that was so different from how we've known Winifred. And that has to be one of my favorite moments of this movie, because it's like, no, this is the real Winnie. What we saw was a facade that she held up to keep her sisters safe, but as soon as they were in danger, this is the real Winnie. This is the real Winnie. This is who she was before she lost her way. And she came back in that moment and redeemed herself. She did. There are people who will argue with me that that was not redemption. That was redemption. Because again, she could have kept living. She could have kept going. She could have kept being evil. She could have pursued revenge even further, because now her sisters have been taken away. She could have put the blame on literally everyone else, being like, well, if Trask hadn't done this in the first place, I never would have used the Magic Eye Maxima, and I never would have lost my sisters. That was what you would have expected from Winifred, but she didn't. She gave up her powers. She gave up her new, all-powerful stature just to go back to her family. She gave up her life to go back to her family. Winifred Sanderson got redeemed. And in doing so, I think she would have brought that same thing to her sisters when they met back up. Whew. Sorry, I'm getting emotional over here. She got redeemed in that moment. I cannot talk enough about this moment, because I'm just going to have to do a Winifred breakdown at some point, because holy cow, was that character growth. That is probably my second favorite moment of this entire movie, right behind Sarah growing a pair. Like, wow. Just wow. And Bette Midler's acting in that moment, holy crap, give her all the awards. Give her all the awards. Just give them to her right now. Oh man, she brought it, and she brought it hard. That was so good. It was so good. That one, it's okay, maybe it's equal to when Sarah stood up for herself. But, good lord, that is such a good moment. And it is one of my favorites. It is easily one of my favorites. And I think a lot of people's favorites. So there you go. Those are my favorite moments from Hocus Pocus 2. What are your favorite moments? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you are new to my channel, please remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It's free, it helps me, and what helps me helps you guys get more great content like this. If you would like to join our Discord server, the Sanderson Cottage, the link is in the community tab and in the description down below. We have a lot of fun over on our server, I will say that. And it's not just talking about Hocus Pocus. We're getting to know each other, and we're talking about real life, and we're talking about our hobbies. It's fun. I like hanging out in there. I'm most active on Sunday afternoons, and I'm trying to get in there a little bit more, but as somebody who works all day, she likes her time for herself. But when I hop in there, and I peek, and I check things, make sure everything's not burning down, I got 3 great mods for that, by the way. They're doing a great job. It is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun over there, so please go join the Discord. If you're a regular on this channel, please remember to drop a like and share your favorite moments from Hocus Pocus 2 down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Casey Zolgelman, aka the Ford Sanderson Sister, and I will see you witches and wizards later.
I put a spell on you.